Hello, Sam here. Something a little different from my usual painting tutorial videos that I make. In this video, I had a conversation with a French artist called Remy Lach, and he paints watercolour scenes, especially of landscapes, urban landscapes and boats. And we were talking generally about painting, the art business, and also art coaching as well, because Remy is also an art coach. And we were kind of interviewing each other, so some pretty interesting topics of discussion. And if you'd like an insight into what goes on behind the scenes as well as what Remy does, then you should check out this conversation I had with him. It was really awesome, and I hope you enjoy it. I'd actually like to know a bit about your background, actually. Like, how did you become a watercolor artist, and then how did you develop your online business and doing the coaching that you're teaching now?
Yeah, thing is that I was basically an employee for 15 years, and I come from a engineering background, so I'm a very rational guy. And the thing is that when I was an employee, I didn't feel that happy, and because I thought that everything that I did, everyone could do it as well.
Yeah.
At that time, I was in that mindset, not really good one, but it was fine, 9 to 5 job, and things were all right, but it wasn't so fulfilling. So this is when, in more than 10 years ago, in 2013, I discovered a watercolorist called Direk Kingnok.
Yeah.
I think he's a Taiwanese, and there was this YouTube video where he painted watercolor, and I didn't know at that time that it was a watercolor. So when I saw it, it was like magic for me, and I wanted then to do exactly the same. So this is when I discovered watercolor 10 years ago. And I discovered it the hard way because I'm a self-taught artist. I never took any course about watercolor. So yes, I learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
And but in the end, I managed to keep on painting during the weekend, sometimes during the night in the week. And during the pandemic, where in France we were quarantined, everyone was stuck at home. I had more time because I didn't have to take the train to go to work. So this is when I decided to create a YouTube channel. It was in English. My first videos were in English, and I wanted to show how I paint so that maybe people all around the world could watch it, and maybe they would buy my paintings. So at first, it wasn't about teaching watercolor. It was just selling my stuff in order to have some kind of a side hustle. But then people start noticing the painting I did, and they wanted to know how to paint the same way. So this is when I pivoted, and I decided to create YouTube tutorials, watercolor tutorials, and so on. And then it took off, meaning that the people were subscribing, they wanted to know more. I started to sell online course, and then I switched into some kind of a coaching program, and now I'm in that space with some coaching program, because I realized that the online courses wasn't helping as many people as I wanted, because the daily life, then it takes over, and you don't follow the course anymore. You don't follow the tutorials anymore. And with some coaching, I realized that the results from the students were so high. They could do so beautiful paintings. And this is when I decided, okay, I'm going to go to be all in on coaching people, and I love this. So now
Yeah,
the YouTube channel is something like more than 20,000 subscribers in France on the French in the French language. And yeah, it's doing quite fine, and I'm quite happy with it.
that's awesome. Actually, I resonate with your story a lot there because in some ways it's similar to mine because I've been an artist ever since I was a child, like on and off. I always liked landscape art and yeah, was drawing and painting ever since I was a child. And then I was painting up until about 18 years old. And like you, I've never been to art school. I did do art for A level in school, which is kind of like what you do before you go to university. But I don't recall ever being taught about, landscape painting, composition, tonal values, color mixing. The only thing I got out of it that I thought was useful was life drawing. So we did that every week.
Mm,
But I just wanted to paint landscapes, and they're always trying to dissuade me from doing it. And they're always trying to make me do this abstract stuff, and I just wasn't into it. I mean, I'm just, nothing against it or anything, but it's just not my thing at all. But I ended up, I stopped painting for a long time, and I kind of did what a lot of people do in England because I grew up in England. I went to university, studied a science degree in it was plant sciences. I've always had an interest in plants as well, but quickly realised that there's not that many jobs in science. I got a job at Kew Gardens in London, and I was there for about a year and a half. But within 3 months of working there, I realised that this isn't a valid career path for me. And I did briefly take up painting again then because I was really inspired by the botanical artists that they had working there and doing these really beautiful scientific paintings of plants and stuff. So that started me painting again, and I started painting botanical paintings and also seascapes because I'd seen this artist in Exeter in Devon just in a random gallery in these beautiful seascapes, and when I saw them I was like, wow, I want to learn to paint the sea. So that's what started it. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I moved to the USA because I got a job there with a tree company and I was doing tree work. So I in the end trained to be an arborist, and I was working in the tree industry for over 10 years. But I lived in the United States for 2 years. I came back to England. I moved to London and I'd stopped painting again, but I was working on the tools, climbing trees in London, and I was just finding the city life in London quite stressful. And I took up painting again about 3 months or a couple of months before I moved to New Zealand. And then when I came to New Zealand, within a week of being here, the first thing I did was go to the art store and get a load of art materials. And I just resumed learning how to paint the sea. And then the landscape here in New Zealand is so beautiful that I started painting mountain landscapes and just landscapes in general. But I was also to the point where, sort of like you, I was in a corporate job, so I realized I couldn't keep climbing trees for years. And I got offered a job doing tree consultancy in Auckland. So that's a lot more work with, Auckland Council and the electricity company and the water company. And it's all about looking after the city trees in Auckland. And a lot of the times they're doing works there and they have to apply for resource consents and things like that. And it was a pretty stressful job, and I just really wasn't enjoying it at all. All I could think about was painting. And then I would finish work, and quite often I'd be thinking, oh, I'm just really looking forward to painting in my studio when I finish work. And then I'd get to my studio and then I'd be like, oh man, I'm just so tired. And then some nights I wouldn't get anything done because I just felt so tired from a job. And it was just really frustrating. And I was to the point in the end by 2014 that, there's got to be more to life than this because, yeah, I just couldn't. I guess at the time as well, I didn't have the mindset or the confidence to believe that I could be a full-time artist. But in the end, what I did was I started reaching out to artists to see if I could get any help, because I knew my work had plateaued. I knew I was struggling and I couldn't figure out how to improve it, because my paintings were looking flat, or my colors were too saturated. Couldn't seem to figure out how to make the distant greens or yellows in the mountains look like they were in the distance, and things like that. My compositions were terrible as well. And I reached out to a lot of artists and no one would help me at all. And that was really frustrating. But in the end, I saw this guy's work. His name's Andrew Tischler, and he's a real good friend of mine. Absolutely amazing landscape painter. He paints also still lifes and portraits, but realism oil painting. And I was just blown away by his work. I saw it in Pinterest and I reached out to him, and he's such a nice guy that we were chatting, and he was helping me, and we chatted on Skype in the end. And he said to me, "Do you want to come and help me run a couple of plein air painting art tours in the South Island of New Zealand in 2016?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." And that kind of flicked a switch in my head. I was like, "This is what I'm meant to be doing. I'm not meant to be working for this company that's just making me miserable." And yeah, I decided, what, I'm going to work towards being an artist. And I decided, I said to Andrew, I said, "Look, if I'm going to be working with you, I should come and meet you." And he was living in Melbourne in Australia at the time. So I flew over to Melbourne and stayed with him for a couple of weeks. And he basically just took apart my painting process and just said, "Are you doing sketching?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Dude, you need to be sketching. That's why your compositions aren't working." And he just explained a load of things to me that were just made sense very quickly, like the principles of tonal values in the landscape and just some color mixes. And I'm not joking, within that 2 weeks, my painting skills, it's like really jumped up a load of levels. You could really see a marked difference between my work prior to meeting Andrew to what it was and how it is now. So I totally agree with you there that getting a mentor, like, you can watch painting tutorial videos and they're definitely helpful, but sometimes you just need to ask and get some help from someone that's actually doing it, and getting a mentor. So that's something I totally agree with you. And for myself now, since then, I created my YouTube channel in 2017, making painting tutorial videos, and that's been growing. And I've sold painting tutorial videos, and I was on Patreon for quite a few years, and now I created last year an online art school on SKOOL.com. And yeah, that's really exciting as well. Also created a free painting group as well on SKOOL. So I'm in a new phase of my business, but I agree with you, just helping people, coaching them, doing the live streams it's really rewarding, and I'm finding I'm learning a lot as well at the same time. It's like, how much do you know? So yeah, as I say, I just think my story kind of it's in some ways similar to yours. So
Yeah, right. And indeed, when you have someone who can have a look at how you paint, if you trust this person, he or she can tell you where your blind spots are. And this is where
yeah,
the real deal is made, because you don't know what you don't know. So if someone can identify where you repeat over and over again the same mistakes, and you change that, then it's a big lever. Your art can increase so much in quality.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think with people's paintings in general, because I can see a lot of people making the same mistakes, because they were the mistakes that I was making, and you can see it in their artwork. And I think a lot of the time it's just a question of giving them some simplified but correct instruction that they can understand, and just remember some concepts, just easy to remember concepts that they can then apply it to their own work. And certainly I can see the improvements in my students' work, especially the ones that are in my art school. So yeah, I think a lot of the time it's just a question of getting those concepts, just learning those concepts and having it explained to you properly, and then you can just build on that foundation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, right. And I was wondering that why do you paint? Why do you paint? What message do you want to leave here?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I've always loved landscape art, or just the landscape, ever since I was a child, like growing up in England. You know what? I never liked the cities in England. I never I always never really liked the houses and the buildings. I mean, some of those old historical buildings are beautiful, but I always just found English cities to be quite depressing. I mean, Exeter, where I grew up, is perhaps one of the nicest cities in England, but I always just loved the English countryside, and just any time I got the opportunity to be out in the English countryside, I was just yeah, just thought it was so beautiful. So that was why I was inspired to paint landscapes. I'm you know what, I'm probably still like that now. I don't really, I mean, I don't live in a city anymore. I just don't like living in cities. I just like the outdoors. I like the countryside. I just love green, rolling green hills, which we get a lot here in New Zealand where I live now, especially where I live. But you know, you get that in England too. Mountains. I love painting mountains. So I'm just, it's like I'm so in awe of the beauty of nature, like, you know, God's creation, if you see what I mean. It's like I feel compelled to like recreate it on a canvas. I don't really know how to explain it. I just feel this enormous sense of peace whenever I paint landscapes, and just, yeah, everything about it, just, you know, the colors, the atmosphere, you know, the drama of the scene you're painting, you know, the clouds, the seasons, the light. I love painting trees. I love painting mountains. Yeah, it's just like capturing the beauty of nature on canvas. So
Mm.
yeah, that's why I love it so much. It's like it's something I have to do. If I go for more than a week without painting, I'm like, oh my God, I need to paint something. And recently I haven't been doing much painting at all because I've been working on some new things in my business. So my painting's been neglected quite a bit lately. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into doing it more regularly. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. But how about for you? What's your reason? What's your reason for painting?
Wow, the reason I there has been there have been many reasons. The first was that when I was an employee, I didn't have the feeling that everything that I did could be unique. So
Yeah.
learning how to paint allowed me to feel that what I did at least was unique. Not in my job, but painting watercolor. When the first time I was so proud of what I created, I told myself, wow, do you see that? Only you have been able to do that in the whole world. Do you realize that? And that's that pride, that feeling. I've never experienced it in my job, in and also in my previous jobs. So I think this is the first reason why I painted watercolor is to feel unique. And then it switched when I started to teach watercolor because I realized that this art is strongly linked to all the domains of our life. I realized that the way I paint is the way I show up in life. If
Mm.
I'm hesitant in my art, we can see it in the painting, but it's likely that you are also hesitant in your life. If you are
Yeah,
very detailed and you stick to the topic, to the color, to the tonality and everything, it's likely that you have some kind of perfectionism in you. You want everything to be square, to be structured, and it's fine. But the way I paint is very loose, is foggy, and lots of suggestion, very little detail. And this is when I realized that the way I paint is also the way I want to be in life. So convey emotion and yeah, and also teach people how to discover themselves through art, through watercolor painting, especially. So this
yeah,
is
that makes
the
a lot
second
of sense.
reason why. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that makes a lot of sense actually. I'm probably quite similar with my painting because certainly 10 years ago or more, or even 15 years ago when I started painting again, I was trying to be super detailed and I found that as the years have gone on and I've developed my painting style, I've really wanted to loosen up a lot more. So I mean, one of the things I do is on plein air painting. I do a lot of that, and that's really helped to loosen up my brushwork as well. And also it's really helped with my studio work painting outdoors because it teaches you to paint quickly and you're not worried about detail at all. It's about getting the the light and atmosphere down and you're always aware that the light's moving, the sun's moving in the sky. In New Zealand especially, the weather can just change just like that. So one minute it's sunny, the next minute it's cloudy. So that definitely helps. But yeah, I'm trying to find that kind of balance between loose brushwork, but like a little bit of detail, but not overly detailed. Because I think when you start adding too much detail into a painting, it starts to kind of kill the composition a bit, or
Yeah.
you can just overwhelm it with too much detail. And more, I found that the more simplified landscapes that I've painted, they tend to be more engaging. It's like, yeah, less is more.
Mm.
So I think that, yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go. And yeah, certainly I've certainly learned a lot as well through teaching people, through my YouTube channel and my art school and Patreon. When I mean, I've still got a Patreon account. I'm still not sure what to do with that one yet, but I mean, I was on Patreon for quite a few years, but I've definitely learned a lot for myself through teaching people. And
Mm.
it's definitely a good way to um, support yourself as an artist as well, because I think a lot of artists want to sell their work, which is a really, really good thing to do. And I'd, strongly encourage artists to try and sell their artwork. But I think in this day and age, as an artist, you need to figure out multiple streams of income. Like if you're solely relying on selling your artwork in a gallery, then you might have some periods of time where money's completely tight or the sales just aren't coming in. I mean, I find just in general that a lot of these things come in waves anyway. Like I sell through a gallery in Wellington in New Zealand, and sometimes I'll sell loads of paintings in a short space of time, and then sometimes it's just months before I make it another painting sale, and it's too unreliable for me. Um, I also think selling paintings online is a really good idea and a good thing to do because it's, well, for one thing, you get to keep all the money. You don't have to pay any art commissions to the galleries at all. Are you in a gallery at all, Remy?
No, I'm not. And I don't sell my, I used to sell it before, and then I decided to stop selling it because I realized that at first I was quite proud of it, but in the end I realized that it didn't fulfill me that much. And I'd rather coach my students to discover more about themselves than encourage them to sell their painting, because it's more an ego thing. For
Yeah,
personally, I don't criticize the fact that people are selling their art, but for me, I perceived it like that. That's why I decided to stop it, because it was more nourishing my ego than growing me as a human being. And that's why I decided to stop selling it. But maybe in the future I will. I don't know.
yeah,
Um, I'm not in a gallery right now, but yeah, I I'd rather just paint things I'm proud of, and that's fine.
yeah. No, I agree with that as well. Because I mean, for me, it's about the joy of painting. I mean, it's totally nourishing to my soul. So it's something I love to do. So I just want to share it with other people as well and teach other people to paint so they can experience the same joy that I have through painting. I do talk to a lot of artists that want to sell their artwork, and I still, strongly encourage doing that. But it's definitely not the be all or end all to get into a gallery. In fact, I'll be honest, I'm completely turned off art galleries at the moment. Anyway, I've with some of the other galleries I've been in, they they always seem like they're just more trouble than they're worth. And then by the time they've taken their, 40% commission or whatever,
Mm.
by the time you've paid for your art materials and all that, there's not really a whole lot left over.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Now, let me ask you something. Are you struggling with your paintings? Are your compositions, tonal values, or colour mixing holding you back from creating beautiful paintings that you'd imagined? Also, do you want to sell your art, but you're not able to get to that standard where you'd be able to sell them? Well, I've been in that situation myself where I was just floundering with my art for years and struggling and couldn't seem to get to the next level. And luckily in the end, I was able to get some help. Now, I'd like to help you and inspire you by giving you access to some free full-length painting tutorial videos. Not only that, also a free landscape painting success masterclass and a landscape painting blueprint ebook, plus loads of other free content. So if you'd like to get access to that, then just click the link below.
I was wondering, how do you find balance? Because we are talking about your business, and you had to do many things, and then you had to let down your practice a little bit. So how do you find balance between managing your business, because it's lots of work, and at the same time keep practicing, keep painting, and keep being inspired by what you do?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean actually, because especially for me at the moment, I feel I'm a bit out of balance with everything. But I think partly is because I've been learning so many new things in the last 3 months. I mean, we've obviously met each other through Contentpreneurs, which for the listeners, it's a group on SKOOL that helps you with your coaching business. So yeah, it's there to help you with your business and growing an online business. And it's for me, it's been really helpful. I think it's definitely obviously been helpful to you as well, Remy. And yeah, I mean, the main cool thing about that group is just having access to the coaches and being able to hop on a Zoom call with them and ask questions. That they do several Zoom calls a week because they've got a whole team working. And that in itself has given me ideas for my own art business. So I think in terms of managing things, I'm learning to be more organized. So I mean, I've got a calendar in my office, for example, where I write down what's going on over the coming month. I write down the day before what I need to do for the next day. So I just set some tasks, even if I can't get them finished. It's I think I heard this as a term, it might have been from Contentpreneurs, I think, where it's go to bed as a CEO but wake up as an employee. So that the night before I set what tasks I'm going to do for the next day. And I am very busy. I'm a father as well. I have two young children. I've got a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. So I'm very, very busy with that. But the cool thing about, actually, because I've recently been doing one-on-one coaching, but the cool thing about that is actually it's an opportunity for me to get to do more drawing and painting, because I've been teaching it to my students. So I draw and paint with them. And in a lot of cases, we're using the reference photos that they provide, but they're really enjoyable to paint, and it's helping me with my art skill. And also, I've been supplying my own reference photos as well. So yeah, there's so many more things. I mean, I've got so many things that I want to paint, definitely. But yeah, I am trying to get into a better routine with things. I generally get up, like, not early, but reasonably early, probably at 6 o'clock in the morning. And depending on the day of the week, I'll go to the gym first thing, and then I'll come back and I just drink freshly squeezed fruit juice for breakfast. So I'll make a juice, and then after that I'll just get into my work. And normally in the morning, that's when my brain is most sharp and most alert. So normally in the morning, I do the kind of, admin stuff or video editing, that kind of thing, making videos. And then in terms of painting, I normally do that in the afternoon, because I find painting's more relaxing. So, and normally when I'm painting, I'll just, stick on a podcast or listen to something on YouTube. The other thing I'd like to do as well is, if it's a sunny day, or the weather's good, it's not too windy, I quite often just go outdoors painting. Usually at the drop of a hat, I'll just go, yeah, I'm going to go painting this afternoon. I'll take all my camera gear as well, and because I'm still trying to find a balance with what to do with my YouTube channel and what videos to add to it, because loads of people like the painting tutorial videos, so I'm going to carry on doing those regardless. But I've also been thinking, what other kind of videos can I make that are interesting? I really enjoy making my plein air painting adventure videos, so I'm definitely going to be making some more of those. But I think I'm also going to add just some of the Zoom calls and stuff that I've been doing with my students, where I've been doing live painting or drawing with them. I think I might put a few of those on YouTube as well. So we'll see where it goes with that anyway. But yeah, I just want to share my knowledge and just inspire people to paint. But yeah, I am still working on figuring out my daily routine, but I am, balancing everything. But I am getting better at it. I mean, how about you? Are you a father at all? Do you have children, or are you like, I'm guessing, if you're anything like me, I'm guessing you must be absolutely flat out busy, because I feel like I'm doing this all the time.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about business, about all that kind of stuff. I'm also a dad from
Yeah.
2 daughters, and they are 6 years and 8 years old.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so it's quite time consuming, but I have them 1 week out of two, half
Yeah.
time, because I don't live with their mother anymore,
Yeah.
so we have them half the time. And then how do I find the balance is through this coaching program, because every week I suggest a new topic coming from the students. Like you said, you take a reference photo from them, and then I try to interpret it my way. So
Yeah.
this is my, actually, before I thought that it was two separate things, the business on one side and the art on the other side. And then I realized, why not merge both? And this is exactly what I did. So now every time I practice, it's with my students. So
Yeah.
I develop my business, and at the same time, I practice my art. So for me, it's the best way to have both. And
Yeah,
when I have my daughters and it's holiday time, last week, for example, I didn't do any live with my students. I just spend time, family time, and that's it. So
yeah,
yeah, and for the YouTube channel, actually, the I decided to stop painting tutorials, and I decided to create something I wanted to create, because as I explained before, the for me watercolor is more a holistic approach,
yeah,
and it can spread to every domain of your life. So now I just allow myself to talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. I stopped I stopped putting the constraint of having one weekly video, one email per week, and so on and so on. So I stopped
yeah.
everything, and now I just release a video whenever I feel it, and I feel much better now, much better.
Uh, this is, you know what? This is really cool actually because I'm in that same situation as you've been, as in my YouTube channel, which I've had since 2017, has been maybe it's 2018 I set up. I can't remember now, but I've had it for quite a few years. But I've always felt like I've got to make these really polished tutorials, and it's stopped me from putting out videos because some of them I thought, is this going to be good enough to YouTube? Maybe I shouldn't put it out, and then I've stopped myself from putting out videos that could have benefited from people. And then there's so many times I've gotten really stressed over it as well with making these tutorials, and doing the voiceover for what I'm doing, and then you're trying to remember as well what you were thinking at the time when you were painting. That's difficult. And it's really only in the last probably few weeks, and of course, Ted Carr from Contentpreneurs, he's our mentor in terms of business, and he's all about giving content away for free, which I'm totally in favor for completely. But for me, it's another thing is he does all of his coaching over Zoom. So even when he makes a course, he does it over Zoom, and I think in that live setting, it's actually probably a lot more beneficial for people to watch, especially as you often got people asking questions. So now I'm thinking I should start doing a lot more of these. I mean, I do a regular, like once a week. I go live, scheduled at a certain time live every week on my art school. But just these last few days, I'm thinking, you know what, on days where I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to paint today, I might just literally an hour before I go live, I'll just announce it on my art school and just go, hey, I'm going live in an hour. Here's the link. And yeah, people can just come and just watch me paint. And the cool thing about Zoom, you can record it, you can upload the replay straight afterwards, so people could get the benefit of the replay. And then perhaps I think what I'm going to do is actually some of those replays I'll put them on YouTube and in my free community as well. And I think actually if I start doing more lives, which I'm really now strongly considering doing, and especially what you've just said there confirms that it's really a great thing. It's probably going to be a really good thing to do, because it's not only going to help you to level up your own painting as well, because you'd be explaining what you're doing at the same time, but you'll be able to produce more content as well and give people the benefits of having that live experience with you where they can watch you paint in real time and ask you questions. So I think this is a really good way to do it, because I see other artists on YouTube, and there's some real great art YouTube channels out there, but they're all in the same kind of format in general, aren't they? They're just making these you know polished YouTube videos. We live in the era of Mr. Beast or whatever, and don't get me wrong, I'm subscribed to Mr. Beast's channel. I love his videos. I think they're really I think they're really cool, and you can get a lot of ideas from them. But maybe it shouldn't all be just about, oh, how many views can I get on YouTube? Maybe it should be just about speaking to that particular audience that resonates with your artwork. Do you see what I mean? And helping those people rather than trying to just, appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Have you found you've started having better results on YouTube or more engagement the more kind of live stuff you've done? Because I'm assuming that you're taking some of your live streams and putting them onto YouTube as well, are you? Or maybe, taking sections of a live stream and putting them onto YouTube, or how have
Yeah,
you been doing?
it's more short form content. I
Yeah,
take some snippet because sometimes during a live there can be some silence. So it can be annoying for people on YouTube to watch
yeah,
silence. And in a live, it's not an issue. So making short form content out of it and then put them on YouTube, then you can be discovered more easily. And I agree with you with the vanity metrics of, oh, I have a video that made millions of views or hundreds of thousands of views. And in the end, what what do you keep from that? I don't
yeah,
think that much because that kind of video it's appealing to a broad audience. And as an artist, I want to provide value to small groups of people so that
yeah,
I can change their life. So
yeah, absolutely.
for me, I stopped chasing the vanity metrics, aka views, number of subscribers, and now I just put out on YouTube the videos I want to create, and it's funny because now I have even more feedbacks from my audience than when I was following some frameworks, marketing frameworks with, okay, you have to do what works. You have to do painting tutorials, which I did. But now I'm kind of moving away from that and doing something that I feel come from me. And
Yeah,
just like in watercolor, and actually I think that business is also an extension of how you approach your art. So
yeah,
if I want to paint with integrity, I have to also run my YouTube channel with integrity.
yeah. That makes sense. And you know what? I think I can see some huge changes coming to my YouTube channel as well with this kind of, same idea in mind. I mean, I'll still make painting tutorial videos for it, but I certainly want to explore more of doing the live stuff and yeah, perhaps, as I say, some of those videos I can put those on YouTube or just, cut them up to the relevant parts or interesting parts of the video, or perhaps condense them a bit. But I think I think being watching a live stream or watching something live is just really cool anyway. I mean, I'm certainly watched other artists live streams, and yeah, they're really good fun to watch, and you often learn loads as well. So I think, yeah, I think that's a good thing, because I'd like to get your opinion on this actually as an artist, because I've in creating my online art business. I mean, for me, when I started it's all about the joy of painting, but I realized that trying to sell work in an art gallery is not easy at all, and especially in New Zealand, it's not easy. And that if I wanted to be a full-time artist, I need some regular income. So that's when I decided on I'll start teaching it. And then as it happens, I found that I really enjoyed doing the teaching anyway. But I know from you know, following other artists. There's lots of modern day landscape painters I absolutely love, and a lot of them are selling their own painting tutorial videos. And it seems in the art world, it's, or at least for that, you know, that genre of art, landscape painting, or whether it's still lifes or portraits or whatever, that it's like the standard business model for artists seems to be selling painting tutorial videos and churning out new painting tutorial videos that you can sell. Maybe some artists have a Patreon channel or you know, an art school online like I have. But it seems to be the main business model is creating painting tutorial videos and trying to see if you can sell as many as you can and emailing and all that kind of stuff. And I know for a fact that I've done that as well, and I have painting tutorial videos available for sale from my website. And whenever I've sent out an email promoting that, I never feel good about it. As in, I feel like I don't like the feeling of like I'm trying to do hard selling, if you see what I mean.
Mm.
So I much more prefer the idea of giving away stuff for free. But I'm just wondering, is are things changing? Maybe not even in the art world, but just in the online space and in terms of courses anyway. Because I know, for example, Sam Ovens of SKOOL.com has said that he thinks that the way online courses and communities are going is it's really more going to be focused on community, and people want to be part of a community. So, for example, um, like doing one-on-one or, you know, in-person one-on-one coaching or coaching people as a group, they're part of a community then. Or, you know, in my case, having an art school and the free painters hub that I've got, you're part of a community there. So yeah, I was just wondering what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's the way it's going? Because I'm getting to the point now, even, you know, I've got painting tutorials for sale on my website, but I'm almost to the point that it's like I feel like I've exhausted it a little bit, and I'd feel a lot more comfortable just doing more painting live streams to be honest. But yeah, just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I I've I followed this framework business model as well, meaning painting tutorials, online courses, and trying to sell them. And yeah, sometimes I felt salesy.
Yeah,
I'm guilty of it, and it's fine because I had to go through that in order to question this path and
yeah,
then make that introspection to know what do I really want. And I think that in the end, everything could work. And despite the fact that some people on the online space tell us that online courses are dead or now it's all about community and so on, I think it's more something that has a hype currently, but
mm,
I I'm I'd like to see the business as my art, and there are always things that are going to be timeless. And
yes,
what's timeless when I practice is that I want to have fun with it. I want to feel joy when I paint. So the
yeah,
question I ask myself is what offer or what product or what courses or what coaching would I be proud to sell and in which I can have fun with.
yeah,
And then whether be it online course or a coaching program or a live stream, anything, it can be anything in the end. I think so. It just comes down to what do you want? What kind of life do you want? And also asking your audience. I spent hours and hours on the phone with my audience, asking them, okay, so you did so many painting tutorials. What do you think you are lacking? what do you think is missing and what do you want? And then I realized, oh, okay, I think that coaching these people, additionally to painting tutorials, it can be life changing for them. And then you test it.
Yeah.
So I think there is no right or wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Just your way, and it also depends on the phase in your life. Sometimes you just want to sit and relax, and you can sell painting tutorials through emails and so on. And sometimes you want to engage, you want to interact with people, and then you can suggest some live stream. I think it depends. It's just that you need to have fun, you need to be inspired by it, and by
Yeah.
being inspired, you will inspire your audience as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that's the way to go. I'm certainly trying some new things in my art business right now, and it's pretty exciting. And I think you're right. I think you do have to just, yeah, try out some different things. Because I mean, not everybody wants to join a membership, for example. Some people just want to buy some painting tutorial videos and just have that one-time purchase. So you should make that you should make that available as well. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll still be making painting tutorial videos, but after talking to you and just what I've been learning from the Contentpreneurs group for the last 3 months, and just the fact that all of that's in a live setting, I'm really liking the idea of just doing more, yeah, live streaming, live painting. Um, Certainly in my group, I was only doing about one live stream a month. Now I'm doing it once a week, and I'm about to, as I say, probably start. Next time I start painting, I'll probably just go right. I'm going to be going live shortly, and just tell people, give them a Zoom link, and then they can just watch me paint. Because sometimes I have days sometimes where I plan to paint. I'm like, right, I'm going to paint this day, and then other days I might just be like, you know what, I just feel like painting right now, and I'm just going to do some painting.
Yeah, great.
So in that situation, it could be right. You know what, everyone can watch me. I'll just hop on my art school, go right. I'm going live in like an hour or half an hour or whatever. Here's the Zoom link. Come join me. So yeah, I think that could be the way to go. It's pretty exciting stuff. So what I'd like to ask then is, what would you suggest? So, for example, the people you're coaching, what is their end goal aside from getting better at painting and what they do? I know for a fact with my free community that I ask them a few questions before they join, just partly because I want to know what their background is, but also to make sure that they're serious about what they're doing as well. And quite a lot of them have said the same thing, i.e. they're struggling with their painting, they're struggling with making their paintings look realistic, but they also want to be good enough that they could start selling their art. So with your students that you're coaching, is that the end goal as well with some of them, that
No,
you can try and get their standard up, their painting up to a standard they can sell, or is it just purely more, so they can prove their art, perhaps their mental well-being, if you see what I mean? I mean, painting, in my opinion, is very therapeutic.
mm, yeah, it's more like
So
that.
yeah, so I mean, what are the goals and desires of the artists that you're coaching?
Um, yeah, they are often like me, meaning that they have experienced life pain, lots of pain in their life, and
Mm.
they have gone through death of some people close to them, or they are going through sickness or
Mm.
depression. And in a way, we are all broken by life. And
Yeah.
I was, for me. And the people I decide to coach are like me. And in a
Yeah.
way, watercolor painting is like it helps them heal their soul. So
Mm.
it's more well-being and but also healing something, a wound that they are that has been with them sometimes their whole life. And watercolor
Yeah.
is the key to unlock that and to free themselves from whatever what whatever burden they had in their life. So
Yeah.
to let go, learning to be more tolerant about themselves, and I I'm really into that. And I really believe that watercolor can help people let go of things and accept themselves a little bit more. And that's why I think I attract people like me because my coaching also healing me as well. I'm
That's
struggling.
awesome.
So yeah. And I'm so grateful and thankful for my students because they help me see what I don't see. They are a mirror for me. Like watercolor is a mirror of your soul. My students are a mirror of me as a human being.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the cool thing about painting, I mean, for me, it's like an endless lifetime project that I'll never complete, which is awesome. And that just fills me with excitement anyway. So certainly, I mean, I think everyone should try painting, and it definitely helps with depression, that's for sure. I mean, even the artist Bob Ross, I mean, love him or hate him, I think he was a great guy. I think he did so many good things for people by bringing painting to the masses, and he helped a lot of people that were depressed as well. So I do think, yeah, art painting is just it is so good for your soul because it's creative, and this is why I do it. So I love to teach it as well. But
Mm.
that's pretty interesting. Certainly the people I coach, a lot of them are wanting to get better so that they can sell their art. So that excites me as well, that I can help them in their journey in that way, because I was the same as well. I mean, I got to that point where I was just absolutely struggling, and then I was really fortunate to meet Andrew Tischler, who helped me. And sometimes you need an art mentor just to show you a few things and just hold your hand, if you see what I mean. It's the same with me at the moment in learning about business and things like that. Sometimes you just need a bit of hand holding, and I
Yeah.
think it's a really good thing. But so so if maybe you might not know the answer to this question, but say some of the people that are watching this podcast or listening to it, say they're artists and they're at the moment they're working a full-time job, and they want to be spending more time painting. They're feeling unfulfilled in their full-time job, and that's not what they want to do, and they want to make their painting a full-time career. What would be your suggestion of how that they could start taking steps towards moving away from a full-time job to being a full-time artist?
Yeah. What I would suggest is living from your art is not the same as making art. So, well, I would
Mm,
suggest that people have to experience that kind of life to see the constraints, the drawbacks, and also the positives as well. But when I started my YouTube channel, I published some videos, and I I was really into that because I wanted to learn how to create videos. So I think that people should find some motivation external to living from your art and making a full-time job from your art. Something else, like, yeah, I want to know how to create stunning videos. I want to know how to sell one painting one step at a time. And like I used to say in watercolor, you have to iterate. Your first painting will will be crap, but
Yeah,
as you move
true.
on, you will realize that I can improve that point or that point or that point. And it's exactly the same with our life. Just one step at a time, reflect on what you just did and try to improve with the next step.
Yeah,
And after a few dozens of steps, you will have some other possibilities, some other opportunities that you will never have seen if you keep staying where you are without doing anything.
yeah,
Because the step is too big to decide
yeah,
to take action. I have to quit my job. I have to. It seems impossible at first, but when you do one video, two video, you have the feedback from your audience.
yeah,
People are starting to resonate with what you do, and then you create another YouTube videos, and this one, wow, it's crushing it. And then you realize, wow, this kind of video, it's working, and you do more of it, but you would have never known that had you stayed where you were, trying to
yeah,
trying to figure out what ideas are going to crush it on YouTube. It's too difficult to do that. And
yeah,
you don't take any joy from it. Just do, have fun, just like paint and have fun, do and have fun, and then iterate on it. And then you will see if this life, because it will come progressively. Oh, I can sell an online course. I can sell something online. That's crazy.
yeah,
And you will have breakthrough after breakthrough. And at some point, you will realize that I was there, now I'm here, and now
yeah.
another life is possible. And at this point, then you can decide, okay, I'm going all in.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think if you want to become a full-time artist, you have to accept that it might take a while, but you got to start putting those, taking those first steps to start building your art business. And I mean, luckily in 2024, there's never been a better opportunity to make a living as an artist because we've got the internet. So if one of the things you need to do, I think, if you want to make a living as an artist is start getting in front of a camera, whether it's just, for Instagram or something, just talking to the camera or just making some Instagram videos of your painting process, or even starting a YouTube channel as well. So even if you're working full time, just start making, start doing those extra steps, like getting in front of a camera and filming your art process, and start putting out there and start building an audience, start engaging with your audience, and yeah, just start that way. I mean, when I decided to focus on my art career, I mean, mine was probably a little bit more drastic because I actually quit my job, but I was to the point where I was just so miserable in that job anyway that it just my productivity had really declined anyway, and my boss had noticed it, and he knew I was an artist as well. And actually, he was pretty cool about it because he let me go part time, and then I decided to move down to Queenstown in southern New Zealand, which is in the mountains. And yeah, I went there, and I lived there for about 3.5 years. But what I did was I decided I want to spend this time painting, and I just picked up work as and when I needed. So I got a part-time job in a shop, like nothing to do with my, career job that I've been trained in. I did pick up some contracting work in the tree industry
Mm.
down there as well. It was 3 days a week, and actually the pay was pretty good. So I was able to do that for 3 days a week, live off what was being paid there, and spend those other 4 days a week painting, just working on my craft. Because that's another thing you need to do as an artist is you do need to get your artwork up to standard, especially if you want to sell it or if you want to teach it as well. You need to have it up to a reasonable standard. And it does take, sometimes you need to just spend some time just doing loads of painting and just, because you're gonna do loads of paintings that just don't work. They turn out bad, and it's like that process that you've got to go through. And even now, even I took up painting again 15 years ago, and even now I still do bad paintings. It happens sometimes. You paint something, you're just like, oh yeah, it didn't work. But yeah, you just got to keep chipping away at it. But you have got to enjoy the process as well. I mean, I actually, believe it or not, I do actually enjoy making videos and that side of it, and even the art business side of it, I find enjoyable. I mean, I'm still loads of stuff to learn about it. It's most definitely got myself out of my comfort zone, and I've done lots of things that's really made me uncomfortable. But then you've got to do it. But then you feel better for doing it as well. So yeah, even if you're kind of nervous about getting in front of a camera or putting your work out there, you just got to do it. Just do it, and yeah, you see things start to change. Things start
Yeah.
to change in your life as well, and it's just having that focus and motivation to do it, and just picture what your life could be like doing what you love, if you see what I mean. So that's what I've been doing. I'm still doing it even now, but yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's great.
Um, yeah, and that there's lots of different artists do lots of different things as well, and there's lots of other ways to monetize your art. I mean, selling in a gallery is one thing. That's only a small part of it. I mean, probably 10, 20 years ago, and even longer, that was probably one of the few ways you could make a living as an artist, was just selling galleries. But that whole thing's changed now. You can sell online, you can sell your art online, you can put your artwork on make prints, you can put them on mugs, or just make merchandise, t-shirts. There's all sorts of ways that you could put your art image on things and sell those as well. So there's lots of opportunity there, but definitely growing an audience and engaging with them as well, and just being genuine, just being a genuine person. Don't be fake or anything like that.
Mm.
Then yeah, I think that's gonna work,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's the way. So how can people find you online?
Yeah, sure. So I have a YouTube channel. So if you type in Samuel Earp artist, my surname spelled EARP. And my main website is samuelearp.com. And I'm also, if you want to get some free painting tutorial videos from me, this is all completely free. I've got loads of free full-length painting tutorial videos. We've got free ebook on it's called beginners, or no, sorry, it's called Landscape Painting Blueprint. And I've got a landscape painting success masterclass. All this is free, plus loads of other free content. If you go to my website at samuelearp.com, you'll see a little button at the top right corner of my website that says free painting tutorial videos. So you can click
Okay.
on that. And yeah, I can't remember the URL address that I had for it. It might be some like free painting videos. But if you go on my website, you'll find it, or just click the contact page. That's another way
Okay,
as well.
great.
Yeah. So I'm also on Instagram as well. So again, it's just Samuel Earp Artist. So those would be my main ways to get hold of that. This is all the sort of teaching side. If you're just purely just interested in just my paintings, I've got a separate website for that, and that's samuelerpfineart.com. So that's just purely if you just want to see my paintings. But how about yourself, Remy? Where can people find you?
So if you speak French, you can go to my YouTube channel called Aquarelle, watercolor in French, Aquarelle Remy Lach, like Lach, and Remy is with a Y. And then you have a link that's where you can put your email, and then you will receive my emails as well if you want to get to know me a little bit more. And if you only speak English, I have a YouTube channel called Remy Lach, just Remy Lach. And there you can follow me, and you can also click on the link in my profile where you can put your email address, and you will subscribe to my email newsletter that I will send. I don't know when, but sometimes. So that's it for me.
That's all. We can put all the links in the description box below as well
Yeah.
if you're watching this YouTube. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's been an awesome chat, Remy.
Yeah.